Okay, so with the discussion of the EM wave propagation, okay, so now we have discussed many like scenarios in EM wave propagation, like two different medias if it is there. One is dielectric material and another one is conducting material, and what happens the field components and also other parameters. When we incident the field in one media, normal incidence what happens and oblique incidence what happens. So everything we have discussed. So after discussion of this, what are the electromagnetic waves and it up in the application level? That is, what are these the electromagnetic waves application? So one of the application is very important application is in microwaves. Okay. So this EM wave propagation in the microwave frequency range so finds many applications in the areas of even communication and even medical field and also even industrial applications. Many applications are there. This EM wave propagation in the microwave frequency range. So this is very important application of this EM wave propagation. So now if you take generally, so what are all the communication links which are available to carry the information over a long distances? So there are microwave links which carries the information, okay, microwave links, and we have coaxial cables. So if you see the cables which are running from your antenna to the TV, okay, so those are all coaxial cables, and even so other whatever you are using in your lab itself, so to connect between two components, these are all coaxial cables. And these microwave links which will be used for the line of sight communication in radar system, satellite communication and all. And also we have, so for the higher speed fiber optic communication, where the electromagnetic waves which acts as a light, that is the waves properties, the light itself, it will treat it as a electromagnetic wave, and the application in the fiber optic to increase the speed, so that is higher data rates in communication system and all will going to so have in the fiber optic communication. So now even microwaves, so if you take the frequency range, generally it is from 300 megahertz to 300 gigahertz, but up to 1000 gigahertz we will going to so see these microwaves. And this 1000 gigahertz, it is a starting range of the so the light wave communication. Okay, so that's why the microwaves are also treated as so the EM waves which are in the form of light. Okay, so if you take the simple example of communication like AM radio and FM radio, so that AM radio station it is around 1 megahertz, so but FM station it is around 100 megahertz. So the frequency range is different, but the information which carries the distance, so that matters. FM range is limited and AM range is longer. Even we have seen what are the advantages of AM and FM. So AM so having more noise and compared to this FM whatever we receive, because the distance matters between this AM and FM. And also when you go for higher and higher frequencies, as I said, so in the higher frequency range, the microwaves acts as like so the EM wave propagation, it is treated as a light, whatever it is propagating the information or carrying the information in the optical spectrum. Okay, so this actually accounts for this the microwaves behaves like a rays, so like compared to ordinary radio frequency waves. So even we can see this microwaves application in as I said industrial application like microwave oven, radar systems, and then satellite systems and all. Okay, so now if you take the specifically the microwaves, it will be attracted more in the communication side, so like radar systems and satellite communication and even so other communication systems, because of their more bandwidth. Because if you consider the bandwidth at these higher frequencies, the bandwidth availability is more, so that is the reason where we use the microwaves for the communication. And also it will give the energy which is a directive energy, the directive energy. That means if you design an antenna in the microwave frequency range, the beam width whatever you take from the antenna, it is very narrow, so that is energy is directed towards some intended direction in the very narrow beam width, so that the energy which will be so directed very much and the intended point will going to transfer the more energy. So because of this reason, the directive energy and as well as the bandwidth, so we'll use this microwave frequency in most of the communication. And also for the, since the bandwidth is more, so we can allocate the channel allocation for, even if you take the millimeter wave technology, so the bandwidth can be higher and we can allocate more number of users in the mobile communication. So that is also one of the very important so advantage. So now if you take the microwave system, so it consists of many components. So if you take just simply a receiver system, where we have the antenna and we have the so low noise amplifier and interconnections which are there, after that filter which is there. Okay, so after again we'll having the conversion, the digital conversion, it is there. Okay, and then we can have amplifiers here. Okay, amplifiers we have. So and then finally we'll go into fed the power to the load. All these interconnections and what are all the components which we are discussing here in the receiver. So if you design for all at the microwave frequencies, we have the, even for the transmission we have microwave oscillator, waveguides, and also the transmitting antenna at the transmitter side. So these are all, so generally we design for microwave frequencies and we have many advantages at this frequency. Okay, and also we can analyze these microwave networks by usually, so in the higher frequency range, by using the S parameters, because so the voltage and current which are at low frequency so may not be not well defined at the higher frequencies. So that's why at higher frequency or microwave frequency, generally we use S parameters to measure the particular performance of the any component or device. So these S parameters in detail you will going to see in your higher semester courses. So for now, application point of view, so at the higher frequency, the characterization of the devices which will be done using S parameters. So now if you see microwave components, so as I said, coaxial cables are there. So many components are there, coaxial cables. So these are the components where we will connect, interconnection of the devices. Okay, so and also resonators are there, filters are there. Resonators, where cavity resonators are one of the important kind here, where EM waves will be stored here. So EM waves energy can be stored. Okay, and also we have the antennas, waveguide sections. Okay, waveguides, antennas for transmitting and receiving also, and connecting these antennas to the receiving side or transmitting side, waveguides are required in order to connect these antennas and other components. And also we have the absorbers. Okay, absorbers, where we absorb the energy at particular point, where we need to absorb completely the EM waves. And also we have attenuators, only at some particular point some of the power need to be absorbed and some of the power need to be transmitted. So in those type of situation, attenuators will be used. And also if you want to divide the power, say for example if we have two port here, one port will be having some power and second port will be having some power. In order to divide unequally the powers, we have the directional couplers we can use to divide the powers unequally, and whatever the required ratio we can able to so send the power ratios. So in those situations, directional couplers will be used and isolators will be used. So these isolators will be the one directed, that is single direction devices, where so if we say for example if I use the isolator here, so the transfer energy only in the particular direction. If any reflection comes from the device due to mismatch, so then it will not transfer to the source, so that the source will be safe. Okay, so that is the usage of isolator, where it will be used to protect the sources from the unintended reflections. And also we have the circulators. So these all devices we will going to see in your microwave course. So even filters we have. Okay, So these circulators which are designed to establish various that is entry and exit points. Say for example, the single antenna can be used as a transmitter and receiver by putting here circulators. Okay. So you can use the circulator property like, so if I have 3-port circulator, okay, so one port will take it as transmitter and other port we can receive the, so this, the property of circulator is whenever you give power 1, so at the port 1, so you will receive at port 2, you may not receive at port 3, and if I give the signal at port 2, you will going to receive at port 3. So that is the, so kind of the device which is, so here we can use it as a transmitter as well as the receiver. So one port we can connect it to the device and other port we can use as a transmitter and receiver. So here the same antenna can be operated as a transmitter and receiver by using this circulator kind of device. Okay, so these are all the some of the important components at the microwave frequency we are going to use. So in order to establish the good communication between source point to destination point. So now if you come across the application point of view, so we can use in many telecommunication systems these microwaves. So like in telecommunication in the sense, so very important application is satellite applications, satellite communication, and even radar systems. Okay, and even we have industrial microwave application like heating application. So this heating even we can use in the food industry and as well as the medical applications. So we will see one by one what is a satellite communication, how we can use the satellites in point-to-point communication. So let us say for example satellite is there and there is a ground station here. Okay. So and also here there is a ground station. Okay. So there is a established, the link is established between these satellites, okay, and the ground station. So there is a point-to-point communication, point-to-point communication where we have transmitter and these satellites again it will send to the receiver. And also we have the point to multi-point communication. So where we have a transmitter here, so this is, assume it as a transmitter, it will directly transmit to the satellite. Okay, and this satellite again it will transmit to the some ground based station. Okay, so it will transmit to the different, so ground based stations. Okay, so first we'll transmit the signal from the transmitter, ground based transmitter, so ground based transmitter to the satellite, where it will be, the satellite will convert the whatever the frequency which is transmitted by the transmitter, even it will transmit at the same frequency, also it can be able to convert it to other frequency and it can send it to the ground based stations. So this is point to multi-point communication, point to multi-point communication. So in this type of scenarios, the satellite communication, the microwaves will be very important. So and it will be so used in the proper communication, and also this makes, so the satellites which are designed at this microwave frequency, so in the nowadays we can see CubeSats and nano satellites, pico satellites are coming to picture. So where the distance is, that range is, it is limited, but we can send this satellite communication for particular purposes. And this satellite communication, so it acts like some microwave station, so where it will be exchange the information between ground based transmitter as well as ground based receivers. Okay, so that is what the communication for point to multi-point communication. And so even the frequency, as I said, it will going to repeat. So if the transmitter sends at one frequency, then it will convert it to some other frequency and also it will going to send. So this is what the operation of point to multi-point communication. So this is about the satellite communication. And if you come to the radar system, so this microwave frequency they are using in radar system mainly because of the, so it's a resolution, as I said already. So the resolution in the sense how much the power which is directed to a particular point with a narrow beam. So this beam width, whatever we will call it as, that is the resolution. So if the beam width is go on increasing, the energy dispersion will happen, so that we cannot able to so send at the intended direction. Okay, so if the beam width is narrower, so then the directed energy will be more. So then if your beam width is higher, so then the energy will going to disperse. So that's why this is very important in radar systems, where we need to send the energy for a particular point. So that is called as resolution. And also in the radar system, as I said, so one of the another important is stealth technology. Okay, where we need to find out the missiles whatever we are directed. So if the missile is directed towards the radar system, so in that case we need to use the antenna array system to find out where actually the target is. So then we have to destroy that. So in that stealth application, so this microwave frequency is very much useful. And also if you can see, so all the radar systems we can use in the weather radar systems, remote sensing, where we can obtain the radar weather information, remote sensing, and even aircraft monitoring. Okay, aircraft surveillance or aircraft monitoring. So in all these systems, the radar system is designed so based on the even microwave frequency. Different radar systems are available in the different bands, like S band radar, X band radar, L band radar, and C band radar. So this radar bands will be having different frequency range, like 1 to 2 gigahertz. And then X band 8 to 12 gigahertz, C band 4 to 8 gigahertz. So different radar bands are also available. So within that particular band, so the radar system will be designed to operate and for a particular application. So this is what the radar system. So, and even if you come to the another important application, which is heating. So you might have see the microwave oven. So where we can use the microwave oven to heat the food. Okay, and also even if you see, so in the other application like heating application, diathermy, and other medical applications, where we are going to burn the cell which is unwanted cell, like our disease cell. So in those kind of diathermical applications, so this heating microwave heating is used. So if you just take the microwave oven, so the oscillators will be used, magnetron oscillators, which is a cavity kind of thing. It will going to generate high power, so that will in turn generate the high frequency. And also one more important thing in microwave frequency range is so the compact size. Okay, so whatever you use the component, so till now we have discussed like waveguides, oscillator, or so whatever coaxial cable or antenna, whatever it is, the size will be very much reduced in this frequency range. So because of that advantage, so the microwave frequency range is used. Even so you might have seen in the nowadays 5G communication, so where we will use the millimeter wave. Okay, so in that millimeter wave application also, so the size will be go on reducing, because it is around in the sub 6 gigahertz, it will be in the same microwave frequency range, that is 1 to 6 gigahertz. But if you go for higher frequency, it is around 24 to 28 gigahertz. So in this case, so the compact size will be obtained. So whatever the device which will going to design at this frequency range for 5G communication, so the size will be going to reduce. So that is why so the microwave components are very important, and microwave range, the frequency range is very important in the communication. And if you compare to the lower frequency, so the energy which is given by the microwaves are very much high compared to the lower frequency. So that is the one of the reason where we'll be using microwave frequency region for the EM wave propagation. And if you come across how we can analyze this, the components or whatever the compact size devices which will going to measure. So as I said, in the higher frequency, the voltage and current is not well defined. So that's why we'll use S parameters. Say if you take simple 2-port network, as like even your network analysis, just if I take the 2-port network kind of thing, so we have the source and impedance, and we have the S parameters to so define this network. Okay, so and we will connect it to the load. So this will, so in higher semester also you will going to study. So just for how the S parameters will be used, so I will just tell that. And by using the signal flow graph technique, So we'll going to whatever the incident wave and reflected wave. So we have seen, so any boundary where there is a mismatch happens, so then there will be a reflection. So if I take incident wave is A1 and reflected wave is B1, and here incident wave is A2 and reflected wave is B2, we can define this incident and reflected waves relation in terms of this S parameters. So if I define the matrix like, so if I define the reflected wave at the port 1, so this is nothing but S11 A1 plus S12 A2, and similarly B2 at the port 2 we can define it as S21 A1 plus S22 A2. So this is what we are going to get. So the reflected wave in terms of the incident wave in terms of S parameters, and also we can write in terms of the matrix, that is S11, S12, S21 and S22. So in this A1, A2. So this is in the matrix form we will going to express. So now if I take the whatever the S matrix, so here, so we can see this diagonal elements which we'll call it as a reflection coefficients, and this, so non-diagonal elements which will be call it as transmission coefficient. So that is, so S12 or S21 we can call it as the transmission coefficients, okay, and S11 and S22 which will be called as reflection coefficients. Okay, so now if you take the network, so if see simple example, if this network, two port network, if it is, so if I take it is the, if the network is reciprocal, okay, so this and all we will going to study in detail. So if the network is reciprocal, okay, so then we can write this S12 which is equal to S21, that is the transmission which is happening from port 1 to port 2 or the port 2 to port 1, it is same. So that is what, if the network is reciprocal we will going to get. And if the network is symmetrical, okay, symmetrical, so then we will going to get S11 equal to S22. So that is what we will going to get for the symmetrical network. If both the network is both reciprocal as well as symmetrical, we will going to get these two conditions. So, and also if the ports are matched, okay, if the ports are matched, or if we can use the matching condition at the port, two ports, that is at the source side and load side, so then we will going to get reflections are 0, that is S11 equal to 0 and S22 0. So if the ports are matched perfectly, okay, so then we can define the input reflection coefficient in terms of these waves, okay. So if I define the input reflection coefficient at the source side, it is nothing but B1 by A1, okay. So this also we can write, so by using signal flow graph technique we can derive this one, so you will going to see in next semesters. So just see this expression, that is S12 S21 gamma L divided by 1 minus S22 gamma L. So where gamma L is the load reflection coefficient, and this gamma L which is nothing but ZL minus Z0 divided by ZL plus Z0. So this is the input reflection coefficient, and similarly we can define the output reflection coefficient which is nothing but B2 by A2, okay. So now here, so condition is that VG should be 0, the source, the generator voltage should be 0, and we can write this one as S22 plus S12 S21 gamma S or gamma G, we can write anything, gamma S gamma G. So this divided by 1 minus S11 gamma G. So this gamma G which is called as generator reflection coefficient, that is Zg minus Z0 divided by Zg plus Z0. Also we can represent like gamma S, that is source reflection coefficient, okay. So this is about the, so how the network, so at microwave frequencies how the network components will be analyzed. Any two port network, if you take like isolator, okay, as I said isolator, it is having port 1 and port 2. How we can analyze this one? So by using this S parameter technique, so we can able to analyze what is the properties of the isolators and even other components at microwave frequency range, okay. So this is what the applications of microwaves and how the EM wave propagation happens, or how what are the applications of this microwave communication, okay. So is it understood? Any doubt in this analysis? So if you can ask. So otherwise we'll do one or two problem on the oblique incidence, and then we'll close this one. Okay. Okay, so then we can take one problem based on the normal incidence one problem and oblique incidence one another problem, and we'll try to end. Okay, so take this problem on normal incidence. Okay, so a signal. So this is whatever the application part which we have discussed. So it is based on the microwave communication. Even you can discuss this in the terahertz communication. Even we have the optical communication. All those things are there, but this particularly, so it is only in the microwave frequency range. Okay, so take this one, a signal in air, so which is z greater than or equal to 0. So with the electric field component, E equal to 10 into sine of omega t plus 3z. So in the AX direction, volts per meter, hits normally the ocean surface, at z equal to 0. Okay, at z equal to 0. So we can see that, so the figure is given like here. So this is the z axis and this is the ocean. So you can consider this as the ocean surface, and where we have the incident. Okay, so that is the propagating vector and the electric field vector. Okay, so and h, where it is incidenting on normally to the ocean surface, where the ocean properties are epsilon is 80 epsilon naught and mu equal to mu naught. Okay, and sigma conductivity which is equal to 4. Okay, so now we need to find out, so we need to find out, so find A, so we need to find out what is the omega. B, we need to find out lambda in air. Okay, and then C, the loss tangent. Okay, so loss tangent and the intrinsic impedance of ocean. Okay, so intrinsic impedance of ocean, and then so the reflected transmitted E field, reflected and transmitted electric field. So this we need to find out. So now, so the given equation, that is the electric field which is given, so this is E equal to 10 into sine of omega t plus 3 times z, that is in the direction of AX. So now you can see it is in the negative z direction, the propagation vector. So you can see the propagation vector is, it is in negative z direction. So beta which is equal to 3. Okay, so this is what, so which is given in the, so electric field equation. So now if we can find out omega in the air, so which is nothing but beta times c. So it is in the air, so the velocity of the air which is nothing but c, velocity in the air. Okay, or in the free space. So now which is equal to, so beta value we know and c value we know, so that is what we will going to get omega, that is omega equal to 9 into 10 power 8, so radians per meter. Okay, sorry, radians per second. Okay, so now, so this is what, see the omega, and from this we can able to find out what is the lambda in air, that is, so the lambda we know that 2 pi by beta, which is equal to 2 pi by 3. Okay, so 2 into 3.14 divided by 3. So this is approximately, you can get it as 2.094 meter. Okay, check it. So this one 2.094 meter. So now we need to find out what is tan loss, that is loss tangent. So that is tan 2 theta n, or we can write it as tan theta, so which is nothing but sigma by omega epsilon. So this we need to find out. So this is nothing but tan loss or loss tangent. So sigma we know, that is the value of 4. Omega, so which we have find out, that is 9 into 10 power 8. Now epsilon is, so which is given it as 80 epsilon naught, 80 into epsilon naught. So now substitute epsilon naught and find out what is the value of tan loss. Into 10 power minus 9 divided by 36 pi. So find out the value here. So you can write 4 into 36 pi divided by 9 into 8. Find out the sigma by omega epsilon. What is the value? Anyone find out what is the value? Okay, it almost comes, which is 2 pi. So the value is 2 pi. So we can cancel each other 2, and this is 4, again it is 2. So 2 pi we will going to get. Okay, so this is the value, which is 6.28. okay, so now this tan 2 theta n, which is nothing but this value. Okay, so now we can find out what is theta n. Okay, tan 2 theta, so which is equal to 6.28. Now we can able to find out what is the angle for intrinsic impedance theta n, which is equal to, so the tan inverse of this value, so divided by 2. So we can find out, so what is the angle, which is equal to half into tan inverse of 6.28. So this is in radians. You need to find out the angle, so in terms of radians, then you can convert it to the degrees. Okay, so find out the value. Anybody can find out? Find out what is the value of theta. What is the tan inverse of 6.28? Put it in radians. Yeah, 40.47 degree. Okay. Okay, 40.47 degree. So now we need to find out what is eta. So that is in the ocean, that is in the second medium. So we have, so if you take this as a medium 1 and this as medium 2, ocean is the second medium. So we have to find out what is eta 2. So this is nothing but root of mu 2 by epsilon 2. So this divided by, so 4th root of 1 plus the sigma 2 by omega epsilon 2 whole square. Okay, so find out the value. So which is again mu 2 by epsilon 2. So that we can write it as, so square root of mu naught by epsilon naught into square root of mu naught by epsilon naught into mu r by epsilon r. So that we can write like this. And this one 4th root of 1 plus, so sigma by omega epsilon, so that is we have find out. So it is nothing but 2 pi, so whole square. So we can find out, so this root of mu naught by epsilon naught, we can write it as 377 ohm or 120 pi. That is a free space value, and mu r is 1 and epsilon r is 80. Okay, so this one, and we can find out this value, the 4th root of 1 plus 2 pi whole square whole power 4, that is 1 by 4. So find out the eta 2 value. What is the value? Anybody find out? What is the value? Point 746. Okay. So eta 2 magnitude 0.746. Just check once. Okay, 0.746. So at an angle 40. Okay. So this is a magnitude. If I write only eta 2, so both magnitude and as well as this one is 0.746 at an angle 40.47 degrees. Okay. So now once we find out this one, we can able to find out what is gamma, that is the reflection coefficient. Okay. So from the reflection coefficient, that is eta 2 minus eta 1 divided by eta 2 plus eta 1. So you can find out by putting the value of eta 2, and eta 1 is nothing but air, that is free space. You can put that 377. So you can put this value and then this value as 377. You can able to find out gamma. Okay, so that is 0.746 at an angle 40.47 degree minus 377 divided by 0.746 at an angle 40.47 degree plus 377. So now you can find out the value of gamma. It will be a complex value and we will going to get the value of gamma. So now once we find out the gamma, then we can able to find out easily the reflected the magnitude of the reflected incident electric field or that electric field, the magnitude, that is gamma times EI naught. Okay. So this is the incident wave magnitude, and reflected wave magnitude, it is gamma times the incident wave magnitude. So once we find out this value, so then we can write this ER, the reflected wave, which is nothing but ER naught into sine of omega t plus 3z, then the plus value, so plus because this ER naught will be having also the angle. Okay, so whatever gamma we will going to get, so that angle will be there, so that angle we need to add here. So that gives the reflected voltage. So that's why we need to find out first what is the reflection coefficient. So what is the value of reflection coefficient? Anybody found out? So similarly we can find out the transmission coefficient, that is 2 eta 2 by eta 2 plus eta 1. Okay. So once we find out this one, so then we can put the transmission coefficient, that is Et naught, which is equal to tau times Ei naught. Okay. So once we get this one, so the transmission coefficient equation we can put, and we can write Et naught, which is nothing but, so that is Et wave, the transmitted wave, which is nothing but Et naught into, so the sine of whatever we get, that is omega t plus 3z, and the angle whatever we going to get. So that is what the transmitted wave. Okay, so like this we need to find out transmission coefficient and the reflection coefficient. Based on the transmission and reflection coefficient magnitudes, we can able to find out the reflected voltage and transmitted voltage. Okay, so this is how we need to find out the values. So but here, so the value of the second medium. So you need to find out for the second medium in the ocean. So the beta will going to change here. So you need to find out what is beta 2 and then what is alpha 2. So then we have to, so those are also we need to find out. So this expression we know, that is omega into root of, so this equation you need to use for the finding out the alpha and beta in the second medium, that is omega into root of mu epsilon divided by 2 into square root of 1 plus sigma by omega epsilon whole square minus 1. So this is for alpha 2, and beta 2 which is nothing but omega into, so root of mu epsilon by 2 into 1 plus sigma by omega epsilon whole square under square root plus 1. So this is what for the beta 2. So we can able to find out in medium 2, so alpha 2 and beta 2. Okay, so this is how we need to find out the reflected transmitted voltage and also the alpha 2 and beta 2 in the medium 2. Okay, so this is about the problem, and even the oblique incidence problem is there, so that we will discuss tomorrow. That oblique incidence, and also one more is there, so that I will discuss tomorrow. Okay, so we will stop here. If you have any query, you can ask even in the problem or any other topic. Is it understood? Any doubt? Hello? Oh, Rakshit?
Hello, sir.
Yeah. So any doubt in the problem or anything?
No, sir.
Okay. Shilpa? Maulya?
Sir, got it. Got it, sir.
Okay, so we'll discuss the oblique incidence problem tomorrow.